Happy St. Patrick's Day weekend holiday, everybody. We just saw reminders of him and we went to go see it in Dolby. That's right, in Dolby, but is it any good? We'll talk. Hi, how you doing today? It's just Jess here. I hope you're having a good day. And today, yes, we just saw reminders of him and we went to go see it in Dolby, but is it worth it in that format? No, sorry. To be honest, it's nice, but I don't think it's necessary. I mean, yeah, you get the bigger screen and the brighter and sharper with better contrast in terms of the visuals. It's nice, don't get me wrong. I mean, you're in a premium theater luxurious experience, but even watching it on the standard screen for the first time, because I saw it 2 times, I still was okay, right? I mean, you can probably hear the voices clearer along with the cinematic score and soundtrack in the background. I mean, Dolby is nice to have, but I don't think it's needed for this type of film, to be very honest with you. So we got the movie Reminders of Him is the next big romance movie to be coming out in theaters during the holiday festivities of St. Patrick's Day. It's crazy that they would release it knowing that people were going to be drinking in green, even though like the headlining colors like yellow and orange, right? It's a book to screen adaptation with the source material with the same name by Colleen Hoover. She also did Regretting You, which came out in October, and hint hint, that is my personal favorite. And also It Ends With Us. Here is the premise or the setup, right? It's a story about Kenna, a gorgeous, perfect, beautiful babe, right? She goes back to her small hometown after 5 years serving in prison, hoping to reclaim her long-lost daughter, right? However, unforeseen circumstances have changed everything and brought new obstacles, and a dashing new handsome gentleman named Ledger can potentially help her out or destroy any chances she gets to rekindle with her daughter. So it begs the question, will he actually help her daughter? What about this guy Ledger? And what happened to Scotty, as you've seen from the trailers in the beginning? Where is he? And the big question, is it faithful to the source material? Find out as we talk about it. Alright, I gotta talk to you before we get into this review. I gotta give you a disclaimer and a debrief. I don't apologize. This weekend was St. Patrick's Day, as I told you, but just like with my Wuthering Heights review with the book to screen adaptation, I am recovering from a hangover. It might not look like it because I put water, I took a shower, and I had some good food, but I am hungover. I'm 31 years old, so it takes longer for me to get over it, but I went out with martinis, I was in a tuxedo, there was a scary haunted house here in Chicago, and guess who came to Chicago? Cream, you know, house music, tech house, DJ. So I was dancing, I was grooving to the house music, staying up late, but YouTube is my passion, and I had to get this review done, so I wrote it out, scripted out. So if I'm a little bit less energy than usual, please bear with me. I had to enjoy life, you know, try to find the wife and the girlfriend. So here we go, part 2 of my disclaimer. I am a psychology dropout. I used to go to school to get a marriage counselor certificate license so I can help out people that are like in divorces or marriages, but I quit because YouTube is my passion. The reason why I tell you this is because I'm on your side. I want romance to succeed. I like girls, I love women, so of course I'm gonna be like, yeah, romance all the way, but I'm still gonna be critical and also just to help you out. If this is a good movie, no spoilers at first, and then the second half of this review we will talk about spoilers, so bear with me. The rankings and the prep. So I've done multiple book to screen adaptations, and I did 3 by Colleen Hoover, which I'll link below on this channel, because I gotta say this is my least favorite one. The first one that I really liked was Regretting You. That came out in October, but that just had an amazing cast with Dave Franco, McKenna Grace, and that was beautifully done with the dual romances, right? In second place, It Ends With Us with Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, which I'm not going to talk about the scandalisms. And this is in third place, and honestly, I'm sorry, but this is not something I would go back to. I did enjoy my time with it though, but I don't know, I didn't like it as much as the other ones, you know? I saw it the first time with my tuxedo event on Saturday, normal. This was before like getting drunk and stuff, and then I saw it on Sunday hungover in Dolby Atmos, right? And like I told you, Dolby does make a difference, but I was just chilling there. I was like, wow, Dolby does feel more luxurious and premium and stuff, but you don't need it to watch it, especially if you don't have a Dolby experience, because the time was late. I was like, nah, dude, I gotta go home. I gotta start writing this review and stuff, you know? Alright, so here's the deal. 1 month ago, I picked this up at Barnes & Noble, right? I got the movie tie-in edition, so that's cool. Just like I've done with other adaptations, I don't ever watch trailers to the movies that I know I'm gonna see, so every single day, a few chapters I would read. But I already knew what the characters looked like. On Instagram, you know, when you're scrolling and stuff, I see the screenshots and the still images that Instagram provides, so I already knew the girl was gonna be Kenna Grace, Ledger was gonna be... I already knew how they looked like. Patrick, Grace, DM, Lady Diana, Roman. So that's how I like to do my book to screen adaptations. I did watch the trailer after to give you a better comprehensive reviews, just to let you know what did you miss, what did you not miss. So that's just how I like to structure my reviews. All right, let's just get to the big question. Is this a faithful adaptation? Yeah, kind of. I mean, mostly it does change up a couple of key things that we'll talk about it, but you still see the same storyline. Kenna goes back to her hometown, Paradise Apartments. She talks to the lady. Here, take a kitten. Take a kitten, because she has so many kittens. In the book, in the beginning, she has kittens. They did change something in the beginning, and I didn't like that change, but we'll talk about it in the spoiler section. She still meets Ledger at the bar, who turned this bookstore into a bar, just like the book. I did, you know, she still wants the coffee. It's not a bar, you know, but it's still the same thing. Orange truck. Patrick and Grace still live literally across the street from Ledger, as pointed in the book, right? Roman is still there. Lady Diana, Amy, right? The grocery store incident where she tries to get a job. She meets Amy. She runs after her kid because supposedly they're gonna meet up, right? What else? Ledger's still building his other house, and he still was in the NFL, which is crazy, right? Her about his daughter on his phone. So it's a faithful adaptation, except the big one. In the beginning, they changed it, and towards the end, the climax of the reveal, I loved how the movie did it. That was beautifully done. That's a good change that I like. But the beginning, you miss so much context, but we'll talk about it. Chemistry and casting. Do the characters have chemistry? Because it's a romance movie, right? Honestly, I do feel like they do have enough chemistry to make the movie work. It's not perfect, though. I don't think Kenna is particularly perfect for that role. She is played by Maika Monroe. And look, yes, she's a gorgeous babe. She's beautiful. Trust me. Oh my God, I would wife her. Trust me, I would want to be with her. I've only seen her in one movie called Watcher. Came out a few years ago in the summer, which link below. I actually have a review on that channel. So it was summer, it was raining, then I watched her other movie. But don't get me wrong, she's great in it and she can play Kenna, but I feel like I just like book Kenna more. Even though I envisioned her in the character as Kenna, I don't necessarily think she's perfect for it. Just something about her, and I'm not trying to be weird. Like, she can do the role justice, I just don't think she's perfect for it. On the other hand, Ledger, the guy played by Tyriq Withers, I do think he's perfect for Ledger. I do envision him seeing the bar owner, protecting DM. He's like his first protector, you know, friends with Scotty. Of course, he would be attracted to Kenna, and the first time I saw him was last year, and guess what movie? I Know What You Did Last Summer. Crazy, right? Which I loved, by the way, even though a lot of people didn't. Second movie that I saw him was him. And here's a cool contrast. He played him, which was a scary Jordan Peele movie about like NFL and stuff, like the sadists and the cult and stuff. And guess what? He used to be an NFL player in the book, in the movie. So I'm like, dude, that's awesome. I don't know about his 5 o'clock shadow though. I'm just like, maybe he needed, I don't know. As a guy, I'm just like, sometimes I have it, but not right now. I'm like, I think maybe he could have trimmed it to look more better, but he does look muscular. He looks hot and heavy. I do think they look good together, right? You see the scenes that they have some sort of a sexual attraction, you know, like they're looking at each other. So yeah, they work great. I mean, they're gorgeous people, no homo to the guy. But yeah, I do believe they have their chemistry. They're hot and heavy scenes. They're kissing, as you've seen in the trailers, which I have, right? Real quick on the other characters, I think Roman is beautifully cast. I mean, he's the second bartender, the best friend. Well, not best friend, but he works for Roman and stuff. He was in Purple Hearts, the Netflix movie that I still have yet to see because I don't have Netflix, right? But I do believe like their brothership and stuff. Patrick and Grace are here, and I really liked how Grace has his like mother kind of second son to Ledger that they try to build up in the movie, right? Amy, the grocery store worker that helps Kenna get her job. I would definitely wife her. I love the southern accent that she portrays in the movie. But yeah, everyone looks good in terms of who they're supposed to be. I just don't know why. Maybe I'm being too hard on Kenna, right? I'm just like, I mean, maybe you might be thinking different, but to me, I'm like, Kenna could have been probably better, but she does play the role great. The cinematic and score and soundtrack. To be honest, the sounds, the score, the everything about that, it's nice, but it's nothing to write home about. I did have to Shazam 2 songs. I'll put on screen for you right now. I Was Broken by Tom Howie and The Night We Met by Lord Huron. I mean, these are the ones that you've seen on Instagram on the reels that for the promotional material. So it's cool. It does fit that small, cozy, broken town that the movie's trying to fit, right? It's like, oh, I don't want to say it's out in the middle of nowhere, but I don't know. I don't ever see myself living in this town. I live in the northwest suburbs of Chicago, so this is not a town where I would be. But the sounds and scores, it's cool. I mean, especially when they're talking in the truck, and there is a clip on YouTube or Instagram about it where Ledger takes out Kenna because they get burgers and stuff, right? And the score is fine, but it's just okay. It just complements the movie. It's great, right? I don't really need to spend too much time on it, but we do have to talk about spoilers. So major spoilers for you. If you haven't read the book or seen the movie, then click off because we're gonna spoil the book and the movie, the changes, and what I liked and what I disliked, right? All right. So here's the biggest spoiler and one part that I did not agree of them changing. So in the movie, right? You know how Kenna meets Ledger, and then they have this like almost kind of a attraction, you know, scene where they're about to kiss, but they don't. And she says, "Can I get a job here?" I mean, yeah, she gets the coffee. And he's like, "Who doesn't have a phone?" And my theater laughed about that, because who doesn't have a phone? It's 2026, right? Who doesn't have a phone? That's crazy. Even I laughed, right? And so she walks away, but she knows, in the book, you know that, oh my God, this is Ledger. But guess what? They don't kiss. She still meets up at the Landry's like the next day. But in the book, guess what happens in the book? Kenna and Ledger have a heavy touch makeout session in the bar and also in his car. In his car and in the book. It's crazy. In the movie, they completely glossed. I don't know why. That was such, like, maybe they want to build the anticipation, but I'm like, nah, dude. They kiss in the first few chapters. They have a heavy makeout session. And that changes the fundamental core of their relationship, friendship, whatever you want to call it, for the rest of the movie and story and book. You gotta think about it. That's crazy. Why would you skip that in the movie? If anything, yeah, just build on your attraction. I mean, I have a theory, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say it on YouTube, which I'm not gonna say anything, but there's a theory. I'm like, okay, you probably know your target audience, and if you probably show that to the movie, but like, dude, it's St. Patrick's Day weekend. People are gonna be hooking up regardless. Even I try to approach women this weekend at the Renova Theater. I ultimately did get rejected, but it doesn't matter, you know? They were hot and heavy in the book, and for you to take that out kind of changes the course of their, I mean, we already know they're attracted to each other. They look at each other, they get close to each other, he tries to get her number. What do you, I mean, obviously, but in the book, they have a hot makeout session. Excuse me. Kenna has a history with her mother, and there's some scenes with her mother in terms of flashbacks or calling her. That's not in the movie, and I didn't think it was going to be in the movie as well, so just letting you know, that's completely out from the book. There's a scene where I'm indifferent about. She works as a bar in the back, right? Just like in the book, right? But in the movie, Scotty's parents come in one time, and it's like this close dramatic moment where she's cleaning the floors, and she runs away, and then Ledger comes to her, and then, you know, they do it and stuff. But in the book, I'm trying to think, yeah, she works in the back, but I don't ever remember reading that they were so close to seeing her, right? I'm trying to look at my notes, sorry, but correct me if I'm wrong. That doesn't happen, right? No, I don't think it does, but correct me if I'm wrong, because like I told you, I'm hungover, so I am standing where it doesn't, I don't think it happens, but that's just a big thing where the movie's like, oh my God, she's about to get caught, blah, blah, you know? Here's another big change that I really like. So they're having sex in the new house that Ledger is creating, right? They're hot and heavy, whatever, right? And this is where she kind of tells him about the night that happened that unfortunately Scotty died. And that's awesome. They have the flashback of him getting the plates, just like in the book about the dollar store, coming back exactly like how it was in the book, right? But I thought the movie elevated the source material because it combined in 2 in 1. In the book, he has sex with her, I think like once or twice. And then the parents find out the next day because Ledger goes to their house and then Patrick looks at him and he doesn't say anything. So you know in the book the tension is high. But after she tells him about the traumatic moment, Patrick, the guy, Scotty's father, comes in. He's like, hey, you know, I gotta talk to you about. And then he looks, he's like, and then he just says the line, he was your best friend. And Ledger comes back in the movie and then Patrick's like, he was your best friend. Are you sleeping together? He hits him twice, just like in the book, right? He hits him twice. He gets a bloody lip. He gets stitches in the book, but in the movie he doesn't. I mean, I didn't think that was gonna be there, but dude, that just made it so traumatic in terms of narrative, like cinematic effect. I'm like, that is a beautiful change from a hot, heavy sex scene that they both have, and she revealing what happened that night, and then Patrick just to come in the new house and be like, bro, he caught them in the act. In the book, he just saw the card there. So they put 2 and 2 together, right? I'm like, all right, that's a great visual representation of what's happened, right? But here's one thing. In the book, you get more of the narrative. You know how Kenna says she was driving that night? Well, I was having, and I put it in my, I put it in my notes because I had it like flipped. She said that she was driving because it was Scotty's birthday. Yes, the movie shows that it was his birthday. But here's one thing too. They go to a party, a friend's party. I think the book says 57 minutes, right? So he's saying hi to people. He sneaks a 12-pack. They get high with an edible, right? So they're still in the lake, right? They're in the lake. They're having a good time. They're sleeping together. They're drinking and they're smoking. Think about that. Because in the book, she's like, oh, we're high. We're drinking and smoking, right? And it's exactly like the movie says. He wants some meatloaf and smashed potatoes, just like in the book, right? So they're listening to Coldplay. They're listening to good music, right? And she knew. She was like, yeah, I had to blink. But she could have, he told her to drive. He told her to drive, right? But she could have said no. She's like, hey, I'm too drunk. But like, Scotty, like, I get it that he passed away. I'm not saying that that's bad, right? But I'm just saying the parents were mad at Kenna because it was 5 years, but they didn't even bother to hear her out. But you gotta think about it. They were both messed up. I'm not trying to say it was all Kenna's fault, but Scotty kind of did have his own fault. I mean, think about it. If I was drunk and high, And if I had a girlfriend, we were doing the same thing, I'd be like, no, dude, let's stay here, let's drink some water, let's chill, right? But since both of you are gone, and yeah, Kenna in the movie says, we're young, we're in love, we feel invincible. Don't get me wrong. When I was younger, I did the same thing. I'm sorry to be honest, but I did the same thing as Kenna. Fortunately, nothing bad happened like that, you know, but still, it's like, would I do that again? No, of course not. I would never do that again, you know, but I understand, you know, I understand that. But still, it's like, the parents need to understand that Kenna and their son, their baby boy, kind of had a fault in it too, right? Sorry, that was kind of a tangent, but just letting you know, it was kind of his fault. All right, let's talk about some of the negatives. And I'm sorry, my energy is depleting, but bear with me because we have a little bit more to go to before we can end this review. So we do have some negatives. Like I told you, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. This is my least favorite Colleen Hoover book and movie, but whatever, you know, I'm still gonna try to do it justice and talk to you about it. I guess the one thing in the book that I didn't like is that Kenna cries a lot. Like, look, to be honest with you, I will never know what it feels to want to have a child or to have a child because I never want kids and I don't have kids. So I just don't know the feeling of wanting to nurture children. I love children if it's other people's children, but I will never want my own or have I don't want to take care of one. It's just never in the cards for me, you know. I'm just sorry about that. And Kenna cries a lot in the book, right? But I can never understand that because I don't understand that vibes, right? Second negative, I don't know how you would react if you see the movie and you know there is a book, or if you read the book and you see the movie, basically because the movie flies by all these scenes. I'm just like, the only reason why I knew that is because I read the source material, right? And I'm just like, dude, I don't even know. I don't know how would you understand what's going on, their thoughts, their wants. I mean, yeah, the movie is a good visual representation, faithful, kind of the book, but it's like, it flies by. I'm telling you, I'm trying to be honest. It's like you see the movie and you didn't read the book. How would you react? Another thing is the resolution. And this isn't really a resolution about the book and the movie. It's just that after Grace finds out about what happened, that they slept together, you know how Ledger confronts them in both book and movie saying, I devoted 5 years to that little girl. You owe me this. You owe me this. And he says, I bookmarked the page of her journal. And the movie, he forwards it, I think, to the email and he faxes it out. Anyway, the mother Grace, of course, I was like, all right, this is like the motherly instinct. She reads the thing. And then the next day, she reads the chapter that Kenna wrote about that night, her point of view. And then she goes to her Paradise Apartments the next day saying that, oh, can we talk? You can meet your daughter, but I can't promise anything about that. Great. That's great. But like 5 years and all it took was one letter. And then the next day, like I said, I can't connect with that. I don't know what that is. And I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be naive or disrespectful. I'm really not. But it's just, no, I don't. I mean, think about it. 5 years you hate someone, all for a sudden to just like, oh wow, thank you for this amazing letter. Let's talk. But she was being respectful. I mean, yeah, I mean, maybe it was life-changing to her because she's like, damn, Scotty kind of had a fault in it and now she understood that. Look, at the end of the day, I'm glad this movie was made because I always like reading romance books, watching romance movies, but I saw it twice and my opinions haven't really changed, although the Dolby experience was better, but I'm glad they kept it close to the source material, only changing a few things. Other than that, I can't complain. I'm glad, but this is not something I would revisit again. I'm sorry, Colleen Hoover. This is my least favorite of your 3 books that I've read. I can't wait for the future of your Verity, which is amazing, by the way. Oh my god, it looks so cool with the casting and stuff. At the end of the day, I'm going to give this a great C, and I saw it in Dolby, so your experience might be different. If you made it this far, I really appreciate it so much. Consider hitting that like button and turning on notifications so you never miss a video. And with that, take care. Bye.